You've said yourself that Adam Resurrected isn't reverential towards the Holocaust, unlike, I suppose, most films on the subject. What's the reaction been, for example, in countries like Israel?
Well, the reaction in general is kind of divided because there are a certain number of people who do not feel you should handle a sacred subject like this with this kind of irony and this kind of black humor. I ran into the same problem with Last Temptation of Christ. And so the book divided the Israelis, and the film did as well. We had a screening in Haifa where the audience was full of applause. But, as I left, somebody did come up to me, and I was with the author, Yoram Kanuk, and yelled at us and said, your film dishonors Israel. So, it did divide people.
Was Jeff Goldblum an obvious choice for the part of Adam Stein? And for you, what does he bring to the role?
Well, he certainly was an obvious choice in terms of his talent and the rightness for the role. The very first time I read the script, and I didn't know Jeff. I said, reading the script, I said, Jeff Goldblum was born to play this role. This is him. And so he was 100% right in terms of his talent. And, obviously it made the financing of the film more difficult, because Jeff is not one of those green light actors that you can raise easy money on. But he was the right actor.
If we can go back in time a bit to the mid-'70s when you wrote Taxi Driver, that really put you on the map as a screenwriter. What was the inspiration for Taxi Driver, and why do you think it has become such a classic? What is it about the film that worked so brilliantly?
Well, I don't know. I mean, sometimes you open the door and you run right smack into the zeitgeist. And you can't really predict that. That just sort of happens. And it happened in that case. I had written the script as a kind of self-therapy. I was not a screenwriter. I was a film critic. My life was in a bad and dark place. And I wrote this script to sort of exorcise this kind of evil. And then it ended up getting made as a movie. And I think the reason it holds up is I think it's actually the truth. De Niro and Scorsese and I, we knew this guy. We really knew this guy. We didn't talk much about the character. I think each one of us really felt this character. And so the truth of that combined male adolescence comes through. And I think that's, beside the fact that it's well made and some other things, that's why it holds up.
Films like Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, American Gigolo came out in the mid-'70s, early '80s, which many would regard as a really good era for American cinema. How good do you think American cinema is today?
Well, I mean, American cinema is in trouble, and so is world cinema, and so is the whole notion of cinema is changing. It's becoming something else. We don't know quite what it is. Because American cinema is without subsidies, it is purely a capitalist cinema. It seems to be going down a little faster in terms of losing its quality. But whatever is happening in America will happen around the world, and movies as we have known them will become basically a 20th century art form. We're going to come up with something new for the 21st century. We just don't know quite what it is yet.
In recent years, there's been a great renaissance, or maybe it was perhaps the first time that TV writing is really leading the way. Many people say TV is where it's at, not film. Have you ever considered working as a TV writer?
I've certainly thought about it, and I certainly agree that the best writing is now being done for American television. I've been able to sort of keep my career going and been able to write and direct different things. And obviously, if I went to TV, I'd have to write the same thing. And all of it takes over your life. It's a 24/7 job, and it's all you do, and you do it for years. But I certainly wouldn't. I have no objections to doing it, but I would prefer to keep doing different kinds of things, writing something here, directing something there, as long as is possible.